Hey, que Pasa Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. Like always, before I begin, I want to thank my sponsors. I want to thank Jake and Sergio. Thank you guys for sponsoring the podcast. And I want to remind everybody that if they want to become a sponsor of the podcast, they can always do so. Even $1 a month really helps me a lot. You can just check out the link in the description of the video of the podcast and just click on it and you can go out there and sponsor me. And yeah, today's episode is going to be probably together with Javier Hernandez's. And I'm doing this because I want to help promote Pure Valley Comic Con, which is happening this February 15th at the Martin Luther King Pavilion in El Centro. Shout out to Ruben Ajera for putting this event together these past 3 years. You can also check out his website, metahumans.com, and you can see prices and hours and days for the event. Today's guest is a local comic book artist. His name is Josef Vargas. Thank you for being here, Josef.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, I wanted to help promote, as many artists as I can, but due to, time restriction and like scheduling and stuff, I'm thankful that you were able to, meet with me today. I know we're doing it via Hangouts, but it's an easier way to get together when we're not in the scheduling and stuff like that. But before we begin, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm from the Valley. I grew up in Calexico all my life. Then I recently moved to Imperial, so it's transitioning to a different environment. But I've always been passionate about art. I started art say junior high, and then from there I started developing, to making it a kind of a career choice. And from there I just kept going. I kept learning, from on my own internet. I like doing commissions from time to time. It really helps a lot. Helps me grow as a person and connect with people. And it just, the Valley is really small, and also being able to do art here, and hopefully, bring, more of that culture out, different pop culture and, inspiration to others as well as what I mainly strive for.
Growing up, were you somebody that really was into comics, or did it come back by as you grew older, or?
Growing up, yeah, I remember watching the X-Men animated series when I was smaller, and then from there, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man series, the movies. So I really liked Spider-Man the most, when the movies stood out to me the most. And from then, it just started growing. I started collecting my comic books, say, late elementary, and from there, it just started growing and growing and growing. But yeah, from a small age, ever since, Halloween, costumes, I was like Wolverine. So, just enjoying it as I was growing. And from there, I started, actually admiring the artwork and looking at it. I would see, what looks cool, what doesn't look cool, and kind of picky here and there, and started going, into kind of creating art myself, being inspired by the artists that I really liked buying comics from.
Were you always somebody that drew, or as you started to like comics more and more, was it something that became more of a passion, or?
The more I bought comic books, the more, for some reason, I just had this drive in me to just draw. I've always, from I can remember, tracing, dinosaurs on, tracing paper. And there's a photo my grandparents have where I'm, messing with paint as a kid when I was smaller. So I guess it's, it runs in the family, too. My uncles draw. So it's just kind of, in the bloodline. And just, I just connect more with comic book artwork because it's more of what, it makes me happy, and it's, it's really, dynamic and attractive to my eyes. And I've always wanted to learn how to draw that stuff, and it's just, you can do anything with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Growing up, you said Spider-Man was probably your favorite superhero, or was it just the movie that you enjoyed?
Spider-Man, just something about, growing up, as a teenager, and also, the comic books, you can relate, you have certain problems. Not exactly, but you can kind of relate to that character. So I really, felt close to him the most. And also the X-Men, I love Wolverine, it's a cool character, and Cyclops as well. So I just grew attached, it's just this connection you automatically have with something, that's appealing to you.
Yeah. And who was your favorite artist?
Favorite artist when I was starting to collect was Jim Lee. So I started looking at Jim Lee stuff. From there on, I went to Greg Capullo, and then I went to John Byrne, John Buscema, and then from there started branching off into like the '90s, so like Will Portasio, Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane. That's where I really got motivated to actually start drawing and learn my own style.
I think I have a, yeah, I think I have a Jim Lee drawing somewhere around here.
Sweet.
I think I saw him at a convention and he was like selling stuff, so I bought one.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't have a Jim Lee sketch, just autographs, but I'd love to sketch someday.
Yeah. We often hear the term comic book artist, but I was snooping around your Instagram, and I saw that there's different and I probably heard this before, that there's different parts of creating a comic, like a penciler, somebody that colors in. You have all of those listed on your Instagram. Can you tell us a little bit about each part that each
category?
Yeah.
So basically, when it comes to writing a comic book, from what I've learned and research, there's got to be a writer. Who just creates the idea. What kind of story you want to create, and you have to gather a team. So there's the writer, and then there's the penciler, the guy who basically draws and outlines from words to drawings. And from drawings comes the inker that does the finishing, the actual outcome. Makes it clean and neat. And then it comes in the colors to give it more life and vibrance, off the page to the reader. And then there's the letterer, which I've learned is really important, because if it's like bad lettering, it kind of makes it fall apart. If it's good lettering, it actually makes it clean to read and nice for the reader to follow. And also, there's the editor that reviews and make sure, there's things here and there that make sense, don't make sense, make sure you fix that way. It doesn't confuse the reader, it's messed up in the final product.
Yeah.
So there's different categories. And as for myself, I've looked for people to help me out, and it's kind of hard too, because, it's a certain style with inking, with writing, and with penciling. You have to learn how to do like the panel layouts and how to tell a story and storyboard art panel by panel. So it's a process, and you also have to have kind of honed down your artistic skills to tell a story, So it's a lot of, going back and forth, with the creative team. But as for doing it myself, it's honestly a lot of work, but it's, it's not impossible. It's possible.
Yeah. And nowadays, before comics most of them would be, by hand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now there's digital forms of, comics. Have you do you work with both, or?
Yeah, I work with both. So I basically, when I have my script, I do my page layouts and like little thumbnails, like an inch or two. I do basically how I want the story to go, panel by panel, and I convert that thumbnail sketch into like a 8.5 by 11, just to kind of get move things around, fix that. Once it goes from there, I go on 11 by 17, and I tighten the pencils to make sure the final outcome of what I want it to look like is on there. Then I scan that, and I do a blue line, which is just all the pencils converted to blue. So that way when I ink it, it's clean. There's no pencil smudges. And when I scan it in the computer, it's just the line work, the artwork in black and white. And from there, I go digital, and I start doing the colors.
Oh, okay. So most of it, like the outline and all that, is done by pencil, and then you just transfer that to digital?
Yeah, I just transfer it to that, yeah.
Okay, so there's no like, because I've seen people do complete comics or like animations digitally, but you do it on pencil and then you transfer it to digital.
Yeah, it's just something about it's really hard for me to do digital, because there is obviously a difference between paper and then drawing on glass. I don't get the same quality of line, and the same with inking. It's really tough for me to do that, so I prefer getting the lines and the quality I want on paper, and then transfer. That way I have a more satisfied outcome with the artwork.
Yeah, I can see where it would be the lead of a pencil or something. It's like way finer, and you could be more detailed when it comes to to drawing. Go ahead.
All right. Digital nowadays, there's like those styluses that have fine lines, which sometimes it does work out, but it's just something about the organicness of like drawing with a pencil and everything. You just get more of a what you're really looking for. When it's digital, you can still kind of get that, but it just, for me, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, yeah, and even sometimes like when you have a stylus, it's a little bit thicker than when you're
Yeah,
using like a pencil or a pen.
yeah,
And it's I mean I could see like getting in the way of seeing where you're drawing and stuff like that.
yeah, exactly.
Um, what was it? I had a train of thought and I lost it. Um, can you tell us a little bit about your comic book Violet?
Yeah. So Violet, just to go back to the beginning, that started off as an idea in, I believe, on junior high. The main inspirations for that story was based off of like vampires and stuff, and like Umbrella Academy,
Yeah.
that show they did after the comic book. So I really loved Gerard Way's work on Umbrella Academy, and from there I looked at his other work, just on Google. He did like some vampire stuff, some like old horror stuff, and that's what kind of triggered that vibe that I'm going with my story. So basically, from there, going from junior high all the way to high school, where I came up with the idea again. Fix some things here and there. You know, it wasn't really there, so I had trouble, fine tuning it. And then once I started practicing more drawing, and kind of how to understand how to write. After high school, I kept at it, and then probably last year, 2 years ago, I just went back at it, and then actually, started putting ideas. I started actually implementing my, personal lifestyle in it. How I could tell a story based on my lifestyle than just coming up with one, and just kind of switch things here and there to make it interesting. And from there, I just wanted to make it like post-apocalyptic. What if I were in a relationship or a marriage with someone, and how would I travel along that journey with someone I'm with? How would we survive that? And that's basically how I want Violet to be. So that's basically what the book's about. Post-apocalypse. There's an outer space alien threat coming to Earth. They think it's the apocalypse. So they go under this bunker. They've been down there for so long, they don't know what's been going on. And then when the book is out, you're gonna read that they have to like certain circumstances lead them outside, and they learn more about what's going on, and they have to survive basically, and keep running. There's no rest. There's always something coming after you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like suspense and some horror in there.
So do you think that the hardest part of creating a comic is the actual story itself?
Yeah, it is, because I'm always changing things here and there. Just if I can change it for it to be better, I'm always constantly do that. I don't stick to one thing, because anything you do can always be better, and I'd rather it be more understandable, relatable to a reader than just to myself, because I can tell my story one way, but I also want readers to understand and actually put themselves in the shoes of the characters. How would they do this, do in that situation? How would they do things differently, the same? How would they be, in a relationship, going through that as well? The internal and external, dialogues the characters have within themselves and with another. It really, like, okay, that makes sense, or, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I really like making it where people can come in and give their feedback and their take, and be like, okay, this is a good story. This is probably how it would go. And kind of relate, like, yeah, like I would feel that way, like this character does in this certain area of the story. I feel like it just connects the reader more to myself.
Yeah,
they're not lost.
And like you said before, like with Peter Parker, like that's one of the biggest things when it comes to comics, like being able to relate to the character or to the story is a big thing of whether or not you keep reading that comic or you just you stop reading it. But yeah, I mean, for me, like even like it might seem kind of dumb, but like to write the descriptions of my podcast, sometimes it's like, how do I describe this episode or this person that might be interesting to people? That's probably the hardest thing when it comes to like uploading an episode, is like what do I write? But yeah, I can only imagine writing a whole story on a character, and dialogue is probably one of the hardest things too.
Yeah, and recently I had, I'm just adding the dialogue right now to the story, and I had someone, a customer, because I'm at work and I meet people, and he likes comic books too, and I showed him my script, and he read through it, and he helped me change things, to be more, like the modern times with people, because some of my writing, I'm my first time writing a full script, and his input was, make it seem like it's now, like it's actual a relationship, that they get along, that they've known each other for so long, that they get a feeling from the reader that they're married, that they get along so well, they can joke around, that it's not too stagnant, that it's not like, oh,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like it's like one sided, or it's just really bland. Make it interesting, but it's what you would normally say to a friend or your girlfriend.
Yeah, because I mean, even like in movies, like when you can tell when the actors aren't like, because a good actor to me is like somebody that it's a if it's a movie about if the characters are like a married couple, if they portray that really good, like you'll be like they'll buy you, like just they'll make you believe like these guys have been married for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
and it's a big part of believing the story that you're reading. So yeah, I mean if the characters in a comic aren't really using the correct or the conversation isn't flowing or it's
exactly.
you can really
you can lose readers like that. It's like who talks like that,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I say that to my brother or my girlfriend or my boyfriend.
Yeah. So like are you like a comic, like an artist or like full time, or do you have like a 9 to 5 that
I wish it could be like full time, but I got stuff to pay now, responsibilities as an adult, so it's kind of hard. But whenever I have time, I put in time to like work on my script or work on the artwork. It's tough because I wish I could have more time on it. It'd be done a little faster. It'd be great doing something I love for a living, which is possible, but right now to break in, it's pretty hard to do so. Yeah, I work a 9 to 5. I work at Starbucks, so it's good. I get along with people. It gets me by the day. But when I get home, I just focus on looking at research for art. Artists that can inspire me for an idea, for a print. I'm always constantly looking and trying to better and see visually what looks good and what can attract people's attention to my art.
Yeah, and I mean, I could see Starbucks being a good place to like be like a writer or an artist, because you said, you already met somebody that gave you a pointer onto your script, but at the same time, like you can hear people talking and like relate it to your script and say like, oh yeah, I heard these young kids, I don't know how old you are, but I mean, I'm almost in my 40s, so like, yeah, I know that kids talk differently, so they have different conversations. So you could add that into your characters and make it more relatable to the younger crowd here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's different kinds of language now, and I was like in high school, I was kind of caught up with it. Now my little brother, he says things that I don't even know, so constantly. So if I can bring in those readers to read my book and kind of be like, okay, that's cool, they can relate, and that's great. That's the goal.
Yeah. So like we were talking about the Imperial Valley Comic Con, you're gonna be there?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there February 15th. We're gonna be sitting up early, but the gates open at 10 and it ends at 7.
Okay. And what can people expect at your booth?
They can expect I have a certain amount of T-shirts that I had done for the con. So it's gonna have the Violet logo on top of the name and a big Vargas Comics logo. It's my logo for my comic book, self-published, creator owned. So those T-shirts, I have prints available, about 3 or 4 different prints. I have some that are in hollow foil, so which are limited to like 2 or 3 that I have left. So those are going to shine in like the light and everything.
Okay.
I also have my comic book available. I have a variant cover that's limited to 50, but I'll have 25 available due to budgetary reasons. So I'll have that available. I have limited to 10 Imperial Valley Comic Con 2020 exclusives, and they'll be available first come, first serve, and they have a metallic cover to it. So it's pretty cool. It has a main villain on the cover, so make sure get there and just grab it while you can, because that's only limited to 10. It won't be sold ever again.
Okay, good.
And I
no, go ahead.
And I got some pins also of the characters. Having done, they'll be in next week for the con. And I also have, I'm gonna be doing some sketches. If you want a quick sketch, let me know. I'll do one for you gladly. Just come by, support, say hi. I'd like to get to know you guys and get your feedback from my story, good or bad. It just helps me to learn and get better as an artist, a person, everything.
Yeah. You mentioned your was it Vargas Publishing?
Vargas Comics.
Yeah, Vargas Comics. Do you think that nowadays with technology it's easier for people to publish their own stuff? I mean, like you can do like a digital comic, and it's easier nowadays as it was before when it was just hard copies.
Yeah, it's a lot easier now because digital is everywhere. It's accessible to everyone. If you had trouble, back in the day, having to reach, people in China or Japan or England, now you can set up a website, self-publish it there. You have apps like Comixology. You have, I believe, Spinwiz Comics. Is one that I was going to talk to have my book on the platform. And from there, it's accessible to everyone. It's create your own. It's your own book. People can download it. They can buy it, support you, and everyone can give you feedback from anywhere in the world. And it's really cool that technology has advanced because you have access to all different kinds of features. Stuff you can enhance your work with, platforms to promote, to sell. It's really cool how everything's changed, and it's really beneficial to people now that are wanting to create their own creations because it's a lot easier because back in the day, having to find a way to do it was probably a little harder unless you were an actual publisher.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Toys That Made Us, the story about the Ninja Turtles. How they, they were their own on their house and publishing their own comic, and then they got picked up. Yeah, I feel like now with technology and social media and all this stuff, it's easier. Like for me, I found you on Instagram. Yeah, that's how I find a lot of people nowadays. Like for interviews, is I'll go to Instagram and I'll follow people, and I think it's kind of redundant because every time I interview somebody, I'll say, you know what, I found you on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it's a great tool to find local artists or local people that are creating stuff, and support them. What's been your experience with people here in the Valley supporting you and supporting comics?
People here in the Valley, there's a lot of people that honestly love comic books, but I just noticed that there's not a lot of people that are into that art style, as in artistically. There's a lot of abstractness that I've noticed, and it's fine. It's cool. It's their expressive way of their feelings or emotions through art here in the Valley, and it's really cool because there is an art community. But when it comes to comic books and everything, there's the movies. There's the video games or the comics, but there's not much of the art side, which, hopefully with my book and everything and Comic-Con going on, thanks to Ruben, hopefully that can help, motivate people to, create our comics artistically here in the Valley. It starts to grow because honestly, comics is, it's really fun. You get to, do your own books nowadays. You don't have to do strictly Spider-Man, any book you want to create, it's all your own. And people here in the Valley are pretty supportive. Come to our walks, they come check it out. They give you feedback. They're really nice. But yeah, it's just people come together in the Valley, like our walk by the border, nights on Main Street. It's really cool to see everyone come together and just ask you questions. Just be there. Instead of just walking past you. They ask questions. It's really nice.
Do you feel that if there was more do you feel that people aren't aware of the art scene here in the Valley, that they need to be more aware of it, or is it just that I don't know?
Compared to before, it wasn't as aware. Lately, there's been a lot more art walks going on. Especially in Calexico, nights on Main Street here and there, and there's other events that they call local artists. Musicians, artists, they come together. So it's starting to grow little by little. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to that, I feel like there needs to be more attention to that because there's a lot of talented people out there, musically or artistically, and they just want their voices to be heard. And sometimes there's not those outlets to help us grow and go out past the Imperial Valley. We're just known here, but it's great to have people step in and be like, hey, we can help you promote your stuff here and there. Or, invite you to come over, from the Valley to San Diego, to Yuma, Palm Desert, places like that. If it just grows bigger out of the Valley, people have more opportunities, to grow, outside the Valley and, have a name for themselves, which is would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Do you feel that if you're like in a bigger city, it would be easier for you to focus on this as your main gig?
Yeah, it would, because there's more people with other interests like that. San Diego Comic Con. People that are locally going and do all those kinds of events. And I feel like the bigger there's a city, there's more people out there that have more of a possibility compared to the valley. With the same mindset, same interests, and they can support you. There's more people to like actually connect with and actually collaborate with. If I say I'm an artist, I need an inker or a colorist, there's more opportunities over there with people to connect with and actually do more work consecutively.
Yeah. Is there anything else that I didn't touch upon that you would like to let the listeners and viewers know?
I can think of no, but I'd like to add that not a lot of people know that comic books can be a profession, which it can be. It's just really hard to get into, but it's if you're really passionate about it, you can get into it eventually. You're gonna get a lot of no's. I have gotten a lot of no's, but you can also go like the creator owned self-published route and still make your books. It's just a process. Just having fun with it. Regardless, people say no, just keep doing what you're doing, and always believe in yourself. And just you're gonna get better over time. And I've noticed that as well. Just keep going, and don't take no as an answer. There's always a way to get your stuff out there and promote yourself. And as I have done, and it's a really great feeling just to keep pushing, in the art community. Not to get discouraged, by people's comments or editors telling me things. It's just as a learning experience to get better as a person and artistically. And if for anyone out there that has thought about doing comic books, go for it. Writing, I have a friend is a writer and he loves to write, and he's been doing that lately. And also artists, I encourage, kids that, like to draw Spider-Man just to keep going, Batman, because I'm an artist right now. Maybe there'll be someone greater than I am right now. You just got to inspire them, push them, and that's what I aim for here in the Valley. Any kid or person that likes to draw and sees my work, I explain to them the process, and, I encourage them to keep going, because you never know. Inspiring someone could also, really make them find that as, an expressive form in their life that, they didn't have before. And just making someone look up, to me or someone else and inspires them, is a good feeling, because, it helps them push in life to do good things and greater things.
Yeah. Nice. That was really. I was gonna say I forgot. Not forgot, but I lost the words, but yeah, it's a good message to put out there. And I could attest to that, because I remember when I first started this podcast, like I could go back and listen to like my first episodes, and I sounded horrible. I do a lot of, I still do it where I'm like, but I think now I feel more comfortable. I talk, I have the conversation flowing better, and yeah, like I've been growing. Before I would have to kind of like beg people to be on the podcast. Now I have like a waiting list of people that want to be on the podcast. So yeah, it might seem like you're not getting anywhere, but if you just take your time and stick with it, something's gonna happen somewhere, and you're gonna maybe not become the next, I don't know, Jim Lee or Stan Lee, but but you'll get, you'll feel what's the word I'm trying to you'll feel accomplished, but by the success or whether it's big or small, like you'll feel like you're getting somewhere, and that you've grown since day one. So yeah, I think that just sticking with it and yeah, taking your time. Don't rush things. Things will come soon enough. But yeah, that was a good message. Where can people find your art, and if you have merch, where can they go, and if they want to buy some of your art, where can they go and find that?
All right, awesome. Okay, so if you want to find my artwork and the stuff I constantly post on my story on Instagram or Instagram itself, it's jvargas.art. And right there has a picture of like the main villain, my comic book character. It'll be kind of noticeable. But I have a bunch of my artwork posted. The progress of things, how I go about character designs and everything. And I also post updates on my merch, t-shirts I have available. Prints are gonna be coming out soon. As for my merch, I have t-shirts and a couple backpacks on my Etsy, and I believe the link is on my bio. And if it isn't, I'll be fixing that today, right after this podcast.
Yeah, I think I saw it there. I think it is there.
Yeah, and right there, there's like 3-4 different t-shirt designs. I have my logo, the Violet name, the actual t-shirt of the first issue cover. I have the variant cover, and also nobody knows this, but the one where it's like the moon and the bag in the middle, and then the characters around. Actually, the variant cover for issue 2, so I kind of like sneak peeked it ahead of time. Yeah, so just check it out. Different colors, different sizes. If you guys are interested, I appreciate the support. All the money that goes into all those purchases, just go back into the more t-shirts or the more comic books to produce. It's just as long as I get my stuff out there, that's all that matters.
Yeah. All right, Joseph. Well, thank you so much for taking this time. Hopefully I'll swing by next Saturday and hopefully get to meet you in person. Like I said, thank you for the time. Shout out again to Ruben Nahara for putting on the 3rd annual Pure Valley Comic Con. Just want to invite everybody to go check it out. It's a lot of fun for the whole family. I know there's going to be some cosplayers. There's going to be artists like Josef and Javier, and a lot of cool stuff that you can buy and just meet people. I know I just saw that today. Ruben posted that the guy that played Alfalfa in the Little Rascals is going to be there. So that should be fun. But yeah, there's a lot of people. You can even check out the Imperial Valley Comic Con Instagram to see all the artists and the cosplayers and the vendors and everything that's going to be there. But yeah, thank you so much once again. Thank you guys for listening. And make sure to follow Joseph on Instagram. And we'll see you guys in the next one.